And I've also, though, got to remember, if those fans aren't coming into my grandstands, it doesn't matter how many drivers I have in the pit.
That's true.
So,
yeah,
everybody's like, you should have told them never to come back. You can't do that because, everybody has feelings and emotions. And at the end of the day, you have to consider how other people feel.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it because literally, it's like, that's why everybody's like, you should have handled that. You should have, you should have told them, you should have had this one arrested. You should have, yelled at this one. I said, the only reason my voice was raised was so everyone could hear me. And it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would never treat... I treat our customers and I treat our drivers like this is their home. We want them to come back.
Right.
There's never a time that we, we're like, bye. If you don't like it, this is our
Hit the
sandbox.
road.
Don't come back.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. If you can only do that so many times, then you won't have any drivers. You won't have any fans. You can't do that. We've worked really hard to make this a family establishment, and we do stuff for the kids during intermission, and we have the back to school backpacks. Bubba's foundation sponsors that, and a couple local businesses, and literally we gave away 300 backpacks this year.
Yes.
So, and it was completely...
And that was another, I remember that. I remember somebody a while back saying she's in over her head. Why does she commit to doing something like that? There's no way she's going to do that for these kids.
And we did. And it was free grandstands. Everybody got in free that night. We had wrestling during intermission so that people weren't bored while we handed out 300 backpacks to these kids.
Right.
And we did. We got 300 backpacks with supplies handed out to all the children here in Ocala area that needed them. And we're doing it again this year. August is coming up, and we will do back to school for them, and we will do that again this year. We look forward to Easter when we do the candy for the kids. And
do you have to think outside the box today, though? All right, Candice?
Absolutely.
It just can't be about racing no more.
No, it's not. We actually we have a 5K run coming up here this year. So we do. We have
racing 5K on the dirt. That's going to be fun.
We got a 5K run. We've got the demo derby, one that's in July and one that's in December.
Right.
We also are looking back at the monster trucks. Haven't set a date yet, but we are looking into that. We have the Jeep people that are coming. There's truck events that they have where they, their sound systems and how high are they, how low are they, and different graphics and stuff on their vehicles. So they'll have a truck show here this year as well. So we have a lot of other things that we're doing, not just racing-wise.
Absolutely. And, of course, this weekend they get ready for the Bubba Army Winter Nationals. Couple more minutes with Candice Keeley here on Fox Sports Radio and, of course, Community Radio Network, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, iTunes Radio. We have all the outlets where you can check us out. It's live. If it's not, you can go back and see the replay or watch the replay. And remember, it is sponsored by All About Wraps. All About Wraps strives to offer our clients with fast, affordable service from go-karts to the national touring level of late models, modifieds, and more, and everything in between. Wrap design services and promotions. Contact them today at Wrap, starting at just $500. The number to call is 410-903-3302, or send them an email at allaboutwraps@hotmail.com. allaboutwraps@hotmail.com.
And actually, 4 of the late models that are in the pit right now
are done by them.
Yes. And they're beautiful wraps.
Matter of fact, the first 2 cars that pulled in here,
did from Maryland.
Chuck Bowie and I think it's Dave Bowie. They're I think it's no. I'm sorry.
We're
gonna go back. Ben Bowie, Chuck and Ben Bowie out of Welcome, Maryland. Those cars were done by All About Wraps.
Absolutely, and they're beautiful cars. So, but I guess the biggest thing I would want people to take away from, everybody asks why I stated it, why I did it. I'm not good with people telling me I can't do something, and I'm not good with people telling me that I wasn't meant to do something. There's nothing in this world that you can't do if you want to do it.
Can't do nothing. Exactly. I believe that.
You need to put effort into it. And if your heart and soul is in it, it doesn't matter how many haters I got. Haters are your most loyal fans. I used to joke and say I'm going to charge a membership fee for my Haterade squad because they know everything I do, and a lot of times they claim they do, and they always but that means I'm doing something right.
That's right,
because they're still figuring out what I'm.
And
doing.
Candice, that's something you've told me because we've known each other for about 5 years now, and as I have progressed in my career, you've even told me, Wesley, there's going to be people that like you, that follow you, that they act like they're your best friend, but they're your enemy, or they're out to what you have, or they want to see what successes you have because they envy you. And I really didn't, I used to shrug it off. I'd be like, oh, I know, whatever, but I've taken kind of that promoter role before, doing stuff at East Alabama and the state race and the National 100 and other things. And we're in a different world today.
Well,
some of these people are vindictive, vicious creatures, and they don't realize that we are human beings just like anyone else. And we hurt, we cry, we have emotions.
We have families.
Yes.
And they don't think about the repercussions of, like it was hard for my son a couple years ago watching some of the stuff that went down. And, at the end of the day, I'm his mama, and he wanted to protect me. And that was very sweet, and I love my son for that. But some of these people don't think about that. There's more to us than just a racetrack. We do have families. We do have other businesses.
Absolutely. And I believe females have just as much right to be involved in the sport than men do. Now, granted, I will tell you this on I do believe that there is a sexist thing on some aspects of, well, because you look good, you got pretty blonde hair, and you got a big set of boobs, and part of my language description for those listening, but there's people that are in my industry that I work into that they don't have a damn lick of sense of what they're talking about, and they would rather hire somebody that looks like that because sex sells than have somebody knowledgeable of the sport. And I find that as offensive. I really do. Well, see, but I understand the reason why. I get it. I wish I had blonde hair and amazing rack because I'd be more, I mean, serious,
we now know what Wesley's going to be for Halloween.
There we go.
So, no. Grocery Getter Division to Halloween costumes.
That's right.
Hey,
by the way, somebody created the damn Grocery Getter Division after us.
That's
now,
awesome.
they got a car. It's a car, but they call it the Grocery Getter Division.
That's awesome.
Florence Speedway in South Carolina. Shout out to my buddy Charlie Powell.
That's awesome. But now, listen, here's the thing. I don't care if it's racing. I don't care if it's in an office. I don't care if you're a male or a female. Whoever's the best person for that job, whoever has the best skills and ability, it shouldn't matter what color you are, where you come from, if you're a male, if you're a female, or anything in between. It's the best person for that job.
Right.
Hands down. Because I can tell you, even
you
on
agree
a
with me, though, that there's people that are in positions that are friggin' bimbos, men and women.
Well, there's some people you wonder how they got where they got.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, I don't waste my energy or my time on that for the simple fact of I could be doing something else. And, I have this
That's what I do. Just keep on working.
I have this weird thing that I like to watch people succeed. And so I enjoy that. So like I told you, when you were doing well, pay attention to the people that celebrate you when you're doing well.
Right.
Pay attention to the people that contact you when you're quiet, because if they pay attention, there's obviously sometimes when people are quiet, there's something going on and they're just not telling you.
Right.
Because they don't want it. They know you've got other stuff going on. They don't want to bring you down during that time.
Right. Right.
And that's why some people don't even realize. Some of the people that have committed suicide and that, like Roger Williams, look at that. He was one of the happiest people you've ever met, always had a smile on his face. There are so many people forget about the fact that we're people. Get to know the people, celebrate the people, and enjoy other people's successes, and support that. Be excited about it. Hell, our Joe Kelly here, you couldn't be more proud of him. Between him and Joe Dirt and you, I mean, I love watching you guys succeed. You guys get to go travel and do your stuff, and Megan Myers this year is our late model champion. She went to Hendry County, just did so well. She went to East Bay, made it into the the Nosbitch race that they had for the Twin 20s. Almost made the Powell at Volusia Speedway. Did really well at North Florida Speedway.
Yeah.
And she's
Robbie Smith.
She's coming to race this weekend here with the Neesmith guys, so, or Durance Lane, so, and that's one of the things. I love to watch people earn it. I don't have anything for people that are handed something,
right.
And I don't really, I don't think that it's a big deal, and I don't celebrate those successes for people that didn't get there on their own. It's one thing, like, people were so shocked, we had people here, they're like, you're not from racing. You don't have any family in racing. I'm like, actually, none of my family's in racing.
And that's one of the things I wanted to throw out there because you came so quickly on the air. I didn't even get a chance to give the proper introduction. Again, this is Candice Keeley with Bubba Raceway Park and Dirts for Racing, and you are the only female promoter or female general manager in the sport that not only for the state of Florida, but possibly all of the country, that has not had any family-related person in the racing industry.
Correct. And they couldn't figure out why I was here.
Do your parents not care for racing, or are they
no,
just?
My daddy actually.
And I know you're a Patriots fan, and I forgive you. But,
well, no, hey, now, come on. Even in a lot of things, they.
We do have one thing in common, we have many things in common, but we do like the Boston Red Sox.
I love my Red Sox.
So I love Boston.
I love my Bruins. I like my Celtics, and I like the Patriots. I grew up in Florida and in Massachusetts, so
something just went wrong there.
I'm the best half-ass Yankee you'll ever meet. So we are fully blooded Irish, and we're proud of that. I like being a little bit of everything. I consider myself well-rounded.
So where were you born at originally?
I was born in Halifax Hospital here in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay, so you're not really officially a Yankee.
No, but I come from a long line of them. So my entire family's from Massachusetts or New Jersey area.
So they have the accent. And you don't have that.
I have certain words that I make a point not to say because then people are like, "Wait a minute, she's really Southern." And then where did that word just?
So
come
like
from?
sausage or coffee or
like
store.
Yeah, there's certain words. I'm just not going to go there. But that was a good attempt. You'll catch me some days. But anyway, at the end of the day, my daddy loved cars, and we would go down to the Turkey Rod Run because we lived in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
And every year around Thanksgiving, we would walk through Bel Air Plaza, and my dad could tell you, is it original paint? Was it, repainted? Was it the original seat that was supposed to be in there? Was that the motor? He knew the wheels, the tires. He knew everything about those cars. Him and my papa would take me down there, and I loved those classic cars. And so actually one of my favorite things when I first started getting into dirt racing is Dara. I love the old-time mods. They are my favorite. They literally... It amazes me to see that they took that car and they're nuts. They're out there and they're still racing that car today with all the safety stuff we have now and all the improvements we have. But you can't erase history. If you do, you lose what you got.
That's right.
So it is so cool to have those guys come out and race because you get to see where it started. So my daddy didn't have anything to do with promoting or running a racetrack, but we did go down and we looked at the old time cars, and that never really equated to me of racing. But we would go over every once in a while and would watch the 500, or I actually bartended and I worked at Daytona International Speedway before I went on and worked for ARCA, and I had a great time. I loved it over there.
But see, you work for ARCA, so you work for the asphalt show.
I did for a very short period of time.
But granted, though, ARCA does asphalt and dirt.
Correct. And we went
a lot
to
of people
the
don't
county
know that.
fairs up in Michigan and a couple other places. When we had that one hurricane, it was following us. We left Florida, went up to North Carolina. It followed us all the way up through there and on to our next race. And literally, that hurricane followed us the whole way. I swore we had a magnet. But, it was great, and it was a lot of fun. Michael Whipple did very well. Corey Howard did really well with that. Dustin Knowles finished out the season and did great with Gent Motorsports. Carlos Lira does a lot with the ARCA cars, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how much he helps people behind the scenes as well. All great people, and it was a lot of fun. It was neat to see our kids from dirt on asphalt, and see them do well, because Corey got to race at Daytona International Speedway, and Michael went and raced at a couple short tracks too. So it was a lot of fun, and it's neat. You come back and Corey races a lot at Lake City and Michael races at Volusia Speedway. He actually just raced a truck, last weekend at, I believe it was New Smyrna or something like that, but he did one of the truck races.
Right.
And he did great, and there's not much Michael hasn't driven, though. Him and his dad, if it's got speed, they're going to go for it. He did the boat races and won a championship. He did late models. He's done modifieds. He's done the 3/4 mod. So, I like the kid, and I like I like to watch people succeed. It's this whole thing of they've got the drive and they've got the heart. And,
right.
Yeah. If you see people, there's a couple, Trent Lloyd, watch that little guy, the number 3. I love to watch him race because, I had to penalize him once. I put him to the rear, and I knew he was frustrated. He was the most polite, respectful driver, though. He went exactly where he was supposed to go, and he came all the way back up through that field. It was great. It was so, and it meant, Robbie Smith was just here, and the same thing happened to him. He got put to the rear and won. And I'm like, wasn't it more fun that way? And I was joking with him as I walked back by, and
basically,
he
it was a life lesson. You were
smile.
trying to teach him a lesson, but in the end, you were happy that he
to watch them succeed, watch them come back and battle through that field, and literally, Robbie Smith, like I said, the same thing. He got put to the rear, he came back, and he's got that big smile, and he's like, "Yeah, I did it," And Ian Schroeder, another young gun, he's great in a mini sprint. He just got out there to go fly some planes, so we'll see him from time to time in racing, but not as much as we used to. Tyler Clem, I joke, there's a 50-50 shot if Tyler's in a car, he's going to win. That kid can wheel a car.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of the equipment
and he's nothing
driven.
like his dad, by the way.
Well, actually, no. If you meet the Bubba that is not on the radio, Tyler and his dad are quite